Hi everyone, it's Nicki here, I'm back again, and today we're going to carry on where I left off last month with the favourite vampires in TV by looking at my favourite vampires in film. This list was a little easier because there were fewer contenders for my top spots, but I'll get us kicked off right away, and in the absolute #1 spot, Adam in Only Lovers Left Alive. Tom Hiddleston has a huge part to play in that choice, obviously, but it is a brilliant film and I really loved the way the vampires were portrayed in it, and Adam's just so sexy and so brooding and awesome. Next one, Dracula. So Luke Evans' portrayal in Dracula Untold, which, though not a perfect film, I thought was really enjoyable. Luke Evans is hot, he was a great Dracula, definitely top marks there from me. Number 3, Lestat in Interview with the Vampire. Now, I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan, but the character just speaks for itself. Lestat's a brilliant character to begin with, so even though it's Tom Cruise in that film, we can live with it and enjoy it anyway. Celine in Underworld. That's my only female pick, but I mean, let's face it, Kate Beckinsale is hot, especially in all that black leather and awesome. So she gets number 4. Number 5, Dracula again, this time Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula. He really made Dracula quite sexy in that film, and you know, you can put up with Keanu Reeves' awful English accent just for Gary Oldman's performance in that movie. Number 6, another Dracula. This one might be a contentious choice, but Gerard Butler's Dracula in Dracula 2000. Now, I did not hate this film. I would like to say that straight off the bat. I know there's lots of people that did. It wasn't perfect, but I found the take on Dracula really interesting, and Gerard Butler was pretty sexy. So, you know, you got to take these things into account. And bearing in mind with this list as well, I will say now that this is not a list of the vampire films that I think are the best vampire films. This is just a list of the vampire films that I thought had the sexiest vampires in them. Perhaps another month, I'll have a little vampire break first, but maybe I'll come back and just talk about my favourite vampire films, because there are some great films out there that just didn't have a place on this list because I didn't find one of the lead vampires particularly attractive, but we'll do a separate list for that maybe later. So this film is really not about the films themselves, just about the sexiness of the vampires in them. So moving along, and this ties in very well with what I was just saying, because my number 7 is Stephen in Immortality. Now, Immortality is not a brilliant film, but Jude Law as a vampire, I mean, you can't really go wrong, can you? Even if the film's rubbish, just Jude Law as a vampire. So he gets number 7. Number 8 is the last Dracula on the list. This is Richard Roxburgh's portrayal of Dracula in Van Helsing. Now, again, this is one of those films that I really enjoyed, even though I know that a lot of people will sort of give it a bit of grief, but I loved his portrayal of Dracula, even with the funny accent, so he makes it onto the list too. Number 9 is Jerry in Fright Night, the Colin Farrell, the newer version, 2011 was it, I think, 10 or 11? I think 11. I mean, Colin Farrell as a vampire, pretty sexy, enjoyable performance. The film's a bit cheesy, so is the original, but that's part of the fun. And finally, I picked Stuart Townsend as Lestat in Queen of the Damned. Now, there's lots wrong with Queen of the Damned, but Stuart Townsend, I thought, in many ways made a more convincing Lestat than Tom Cruise. However, he ends up further down the list than Tom Cruise because I just don't think he was given enough to do with that performance in the film, whereas at least I liked the way Lestat came across in Interview with the Vampire. So that brings us to the end of the films. I will be back next week with my favourite vampires in books, and maybe I'll come back and do just the favourite vampire films in the future. Bye for now.